I've realized that chasing deadlines can make you feel like you're losing control of your own days. Between balancing end of quarter tax payments and preparing my students for their upcoming exams, I feel like I was constantly glued to my desk, running on empty. So, I started being more intentional with the tools I had. In today's video, I'm sharing how I reset my schedule when overwhelmed by deadlines, starting from a completely crowded mind. But before we jump into the specifics of how I got back on track, I want to explain why waiting for a less busy week is a trap. For a long time, I thought I needed the perfect empty calendar to feel at peace. But for me, whenever things feel overwhelming, I like to focus on building a solid foundation in private first. I started my day by making my bed. It may seem like a small task, but it sets the tone for my day, and it makes me feel more organized and disciplined. On the rare days I don't make my bed, I actually feel a little more flustered and unorganized. It's become a small habit I try to keep up with every day. Afterwards, I freshened up and headed out for Pilates. I'm really glad I started taking classes because without them, I probably would have spent the whole day sitting without exercising. Not only do I get to stretch and move my body, but I also feel more confident and get some time away from my phone before starting my day. There are definitely days when I don't feel like going to class, but reminding myself that I've already paid for these classes and that skipping would mean wasting my money usually gets me out the door. I think it would be different if I exercised on my own time, because there wouldn't be the same sense of commitment or accountability. My mom and I were talking about this the other day, and we both agreed. Sometimes you just have to spend the money to keep yourself going. After Pilates, I felt refreshed, tired, and proud of myself for showing up. I was starving, but since I never really thought about grabbing food before heading home, I went straight back instead, ready to get on with the rest of my day. Hi guys, I am back home and I am going to make myself two drinks. I'm thinking of two drinks because I'm thinking which one to drink first, but I'm gonna make myself corn silk tea. This one helps with water retention. Very good. You can see the jawline very soon. Anyway, I am making corn silk tea first, and then I would also make this. This is barley tea. Sometimes I add it with honey, and if I want to drink it pure, I'll just drink it like that. And this one is what I drink almost every single day. This one I drink every like 2 to 3 days because it removes away all the water. So meaning to say, your body sometimes can get dehydrated. I think taking care of our physical health is just as important as taking care of our minds. I used to eat whatever I feel like without thinking much about how it will make me feel. But I often ended up feeling bloated and uncomfortable. So I started paying more attention to my body and learning what foods work better for me. I'm gonna let this sit. And then I am going to make barley tea. I'm using this jug. I think it's about like 2 liters. Adding in the barley tea. Before going straight into work, I also like to spend some time talking to my family. It doesn't always have to be about a problem. Sometimes, just chatting helps me realize that what feels overwhelming might not be as difficult as I thought. It helps me reset my mind before tackling the day. Another thing I love doing whenever I feel overwhelmed is cooking. The process gives my mind a chance to rest and focus on the present. I think understanding yourself and knowing what helps you step away from your problems is important. Everyone should have at least one thing that helps them reset. I just did my begin, and I'm going to tie my hair. Probably gonna go shower. After all the prep, it was finally time to get ready for the day. I did my skincare off camera before tying my hair up and doing my makeup. I've been trying to improve my makeup skills by experimenting with what works for me. And honestly, the process has become quite relaxing, almost like cooking, where I can slow down and focus on the process. I hadn't had lunch yet, so I left the house earlier to grab some food before class. I've been craving sushi and fries, and I thought I would treat myself for continuing to show up, even on the days where things felt overwhelming. I feel like sometimes we're so caught in the process that we forget to step back and breathe. Whether things are going well or not, I think we all deserve to treat ourselves sometimes. It doesn't have to be expensive. It could be as simple as letting ourselves enjoy something we've been craving for a while but kept putting it off. After lunch, I made a quick stop to pick up some hair care products before heading to my first lesson, which I didn't film. Before I knew it, class was over, and I was already on my way to my second lesson. Ask means. Tell me. Ask means what? To keep quiet? When I look back at these clips, I realized how much I've grown as a tutor. I never knew I could be this focused and serious when it comes to helping a child learning. I think the most rewarding part about being a tutor is seeing my students grow over time and watching their confidence build along the way. The next day, I woke up feeling so cozy from the sound of rain outside my window. I slept in a little longer than planned, but instead of feeling guilty, I focused on what I could accomplish with the time I had left. Before I knew it, time flew by and it was time to get ready for the day. I quickly made myself something to eat by air frying a few things I had in the fridge. Personally, I prefer home-cooked food because it feels cleaner and healthier. We can control how much oil and seasoning we use, and it just feels more comforting compared to eating outside. As I'm making lunch, I realized that we are often so focused on moving forward in life that we sometimes forget to pause and ask ourselves, are we moving at a pace that is right for us? We see our friends reaching the goals they desire, and sometimes it makes us feel like we are falling behind. But the truth is, everyone's journey looks different. What works for someone else may not necessarily work for us, and that's okay. So instead of constantly comparing, maybe we can learn to take things slow, one step at a time, with a clearer mind and more patience with ourselves. Life is not a race. Sometimes, slowing down is exactly what we need to do to move forward in the right direction. Taste test. I just cook fries, oyster mushroom, as well as I air fried some onion rings and honey chicken. A lot of fried food, but it's what I've been craving for. Taste test. Fry.
When are you gonna take it? Sometimes I don't.
So
I
good.
like a moment. Make me.
This is barley tea.
I don't like to have that distraction. I just wanna stay.
Onion rings.
oyster mushroom. Humming chicken.
After lunch, I took some time to work on my makeup skills. I've been experimenting with different techniques and learning how to enhance my natural features instead of changing them. Later in the day, I headed out for my usual class.
The word many can count? Can count. So what can count? Very good. So toy class can count. That's why you use
Through
many.
teaching, I've realized that sometimes students don't ask questions not because they aren't curious, but because they might feel shy or afraid of getting it wrong. That's why I try to use simpler words and explain things in a way they feel comfortable with. After a long day of lessons, I came home and treated myself to my favorite instant noodles. My schedule often means having dinner later at night, and I'm slowly learning to listen to my body and adjusting my eating habits around my lifestyle.
I chopped this up yesterday, and the reason why I freeze it is so that it stays longer and it doesn't expire soon. And now this is hardened. I am going to grate this. Oh my god, so satisfying. And then I'm gonna add it to my my plate. I love spring onions, so I'm gonna go with a generous amount. I love like this kind of stamps. It adds like a little crunch to it. Then I'm gonna put my noodles. I'm gonna use this hand because I just burned myself while I was cooking French fries. I am going to let this sit for another 1 to 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna put it on my plate.
Honestly, watching my life unfold through these videos has become such a valuable experience for me. It reminds me of where I started, how much I've grown, and all the little moments that brought me here. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm thankful that I kept going and continued documenting these moments. These videos remind me that growth takes time, and I hope that they can remind you to keep moving forward too. I cherish the quiet moments in my life, and my intentions was never to go viral. I just wanted to create something meaningful, document my journey, and build a personal brand that reflects who I am.
Let's try this. I'm gonna be careful so that I don't splatter it on my shirt.
The next day, I started my day with one of the biggest parts of content creation: editing. I wasn't planning to film because I wanted to take some time off, but when my family cooked curry, it reminded me why I started documenting my life in the first place. Some moments are just too meaningful not to capture. I wasn't able to finish everything the day before, so I carried the remaining work into the next day. I started my morning by making my bed, tidying up my workspace, and slowly getting myself ready to focus. With classes later in the day, I wanted to be intentional with my time and make sure I completed what needed to be done. The next day, I started my morning by updating my weekly financials in my spreadsheet. It's become a small habit that gives me a peace of mind and helps me to stay intentional with how I manage my money. Hi guys, it is actually Friday today and it's actually in the evening now, and I am finally done with dealing all my admin work that I needed to do. Right now, I'm going back to vlogging, so I wanted to unbox this new fan that I got. I actually got it because my fan, it's very dusty and sometimes the maintenance is just taking too much time. So because of that, I decided to invest in a fan. Not only it's a fan, it's also an air purifier. So it's like 2-in-1. And the good thing about this is I purchased it using vouchers. So technically speaking, I only paid $49 for a fan. Anyway, without further ado, let me unbox this. I'm also currently recording for my shorts. This is the side of content creation people don't see. Not every clip makes it into the final video, but every piece is still part of the journey. On Saturday, I had just finished a lesson and had a short 15-minute break before my next class. These little pockets of time have become moments where I quickly recharged before continuing my day. After my lesson, I spent some time with my sister and we headed to the mall to grab a few things together. And that's it. That's how I reset my schedule when things feel overwhelming. I'm learning that it's less about doing everything perfectly and more about understanding yourself, finding balance, and making small adjustments along the way. I created a weekly planner template to help me stay organized, and it's available in the description box below. Thank you for being here. The file is open, and I'll see you in the next entry.